Everyone. Today I am going to teach you the singing lesson written by Catherine Mansfield. A short description of Catherine Mansfield is she was born on 14th October 1888 in New Zealand. She was a prominent modernist short story writer who was born and brought up in colonial New Zealand and wrote under the pen name of Catherine Mansfield. At 19 years of age, she left New Zealand and settled in the United Kingdom, where she became a friend of modernist writers such as D.H. Lawrence and Virginia Woolf. Catherine Mansfield revolutionized the 20th century English short story. Her best work shakes itself free of plots and endings and gives the story for the first time the expansiveness of the interior life, the poetry of feeling, the blurred edges of personality. She is taught worldwide because of her historical importance, but also because her prose offers lessons in entering ordinary life that are still vivid and strong. And her fiction retains its relevance through its open endedness. The Singing Lesson is a short story in the collection The Garden Party and Other Stories by Catherine Mansfield, published in 1922. So the chapter starts with despair, cold, sharp despair, buried deep in her heart like a wicked knife. In cap and gown and carrying a little baton, trod the cold corridors that led to the music hall, girls of all ages, rosy from the air and bubbling over with that gleeful excitement that comes from running to school on a fine autumn morning. Hurried, skipped, fluttered by. From the hollow classrooms came a quick drumming of voices. A bell rang, a voice like a bird cried, Muriel, and then there came from the staircase a tremendous knock knock knocking. Someone had dropped her dumbbells. So, first of all, underline the difficult words like baton. Baton means a thin stick used by music instructors. Trod, walk in a specific way, such as you are crushing something under your feet. Gleeful, very happy, tremendous, in a great amount, and dumbbells generally used as pairs for exercise. So, with despair, cold, sharp despair buried deep in her heart like a wicked knife. Now, with a lot of disappointment, she is moving forward, and something has been buried in her heart like a wicked knife. So, Miss Meadows was in cap and gown and carrying a little baton because she has been a music teacher and she was moving toward the cold corridors that led to the music hall. तो वो वहाँ जा रही हैं उस कॉरिडोर से जो म्यूज़िक हॉल की तरफ जाता है क्योंकि उन्हें म्यूज़िक क्लास लेनी है. Girls of all ages, rosy from the air and bubbling over with that gleeful excitement that comes from running to school on a fine autumn morning. So that was a fine autumn morning, and girls are bubbling here and there. They are very happy and they are reaching to the school. Generally, it happens with the students. They are in hurry because they have to go to from one class to another class. And from the hollow classroom came a quick drumming of voices. So, from the inside classroom, a quick drumming of voices are coming. A bell rings. A voice like a bird, means very sweet voice, cries, Muriel. And then there came from the staircase a big sound of knock, knock, knocking. Because someone had dropped her dumbbells. So, किसी ने अपने डम्बल्स गिरा दिए इसलिए बहुत ज़ोर का साउंड आ रहा है. The science mistress stopped Miss Meadows. Now, one of the science teacher of that school, She stops Miss Meadows. Good morning, she cried in a sweet, affected drawl. Isn't it cold? It might be winter. Drawl means to speak slowly with long vowel sound. So that was her sweet and long vowel sound like good morning. Isn't it cold? It might be winter. Miss Meadows, hugging the knife, stared in hatred at the science mistress. Everything about her was sweet, pale like honey. You would not have been surprised to see a bee caught in the tangles of that yellow hair. Now, Miss Meadows was not in a good mood. She was very disappointed and bearing that something burden like in her heart. And she was means science teacher, usually with a sweet voice, and she hated at that time. Who hated? Miss Meadows. And according to Miss Meadows, or Catherine, here you will not be surprised. Miss she was speaking in a very sweet, in a very honey kind of tone, and then it should not be a surprise if a yellow honey bee is going to be tangled in her yellow hair. It's rather sharp, said Miss Meadows grimly. Grimly means in a serious manner. The other smiled her sugary smile. Now, it's rather sharp. Yes, she admitted, yes, it's quite cold today, and that is why. But her face was not smiling, and she was talking in a very serious manner. But science mistress, usually she was with a sweet and sugary smile. You look frozen. Frozen means you look sad, said she, her blue eyes open wide. There came a mocking light in them. Had she noticed anything? Oh, not quite as bad as that, said Miss Meadows, and she gave the science mistress, in exchange for her smile, a quick grimace and passed on. Grimace means like you are making faces. So, first of all, so Miss Meadows was thinking that she must have known that what has happened to her or something unusual is going on with her. But next time she exchanged the smile back with the science mistress and she came forward. Forms 4, 5, and 6 were assembled in the music hall. The noise was deafening. On the platform by the piano stood Mary Beasley, Miss Meadows' favorite, who played accompaniments. She was turning the music stool. When she saw Miss Meadows, she gave a loud warning, "Shush, girls." And Miss Meadows, her hand thrust in her sleeve, the baton under her arm, strode down the central aisle, mounted the steps, turned sharply, seized the brass music stand, planted it in front of her, and gave 2 sharp taps with her baton for silence. So, Mary Beasley was standing there, who was Miss Meadows' favorite and who has been playing accompaniments. Accompaniments means the music with the music instrument. One of the assistant is required, and some other instruments are over there, which she is also playing along with her. So she was turning the music stool towards her teacher. When she saw Miss Meadows, she gave a loud warning. She gave a loud warning to the girls to be quiet. Miss Meadows was standing near the central aisle and mounted the steps, turned sharply, and now she seized the brass music stand planted in front of her and gave 2 sharp taps with her baton for silence. Because Miss Meadows was off-mooded, so she gave 2 sharp taps with her baton for silence. Silence, please, immediately. And looking at nobody, her glance swept over that sea of colored flannel blouses with bobbing pink faces and hands, quivering butterfly hair bows, and music books outspread. She knew perfectly well what they were thinking. Maddie is in a wax. Well, let them think it. Her eyelids quivered. She tossed her head, defying them. What could the thoughts of those creatures matter to someone who stood there bleeding to death? Pierced to the heart by such a letter. So she was also scolding the girls by saying, silence, and she was looking at no one because she was looking at the sea of flannel blouses, means they all were wearing the same color of uniform, and she was looking over them. Sorry. So the music books outspread before each and every student, and she knew perfectly. She knew very well what they were thinking. Maddie is in a wax. So students must be calling her Maddie, and she is in a wax means something has happened to the teacher. Well, let them think it. She doesn't bother. Her eyelids quivered. She tossed her head, defying them. What could the thoughts of those creatures matter to someone who stood there bleeding to death, pierced to the heart by such a letter? Now she was describing how she has been feeling at that time, since that time when she got such letter. The letter is, I feel more and more strongly that our marriage would be a mistake. Not that I do not love you. I love you as much as it is possible for me to love any woman. But truth to tell, I have come to the conclusion that I am not a marrying man, and the idea of settling down fills me with nothing but. And the word disgust was scratched out lightly and regret written over the top. So that this is the description of that letter which she has got from her fiancé, that he doesn't want to marry her, he doesn't love her now, and he is thinking that he is not capable of handling the married problem or the married life. And specifically the word disgust was written, it was scratched out lightly, and then regret was written over the top of that word. Basil. Miss Meadows stalked over to the piano. Stalked means to follow a person over a period of time. And Mary Beasley, who was waiting for this movement, bent forward. Her curls fell over her cheeks while she breathed. Good morning, Miss Meadows. And she motioned towards father, then handed to her mistress a beautiful yellow chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum in Hindi it is called guldaudi. That yellow color guldaudi flower, the little ritual of the flower had been gone through for ages and ages, quite a term and a half. It was as much part of the lesson as opening the piano. But this morning, instead of taking it up, instead of tucking it into her belt, why she leant over Mary and said, Thank you, Mary. How very nice. Turn to page 32. What was Mary's horror when Miss Meadows totally ignored the chrysanthemum, made no reply to her greeting, but said in a voice of ice, page 14, please, and mark the accents well. Now, as per the ritual, we all are exchanging or giving flowers to who we like, we respect and love. So, to follow that tradition, Miss Beasley, Mary Beasley, she gave a yellow flower to Miss Meadows, but she ignored it completely. Instead of tucking it in her belt, बजाय इसके कि वो उसको अपनी बेल्ट में लगा थी, उन्होंने उसको इग्नोर कर दिया और उन्होंने सिर्फ इतना ही कहा, page 14 and mark the accents well. Means the music books or the diaries which have been lying before the scholars, they have been told to open page number 14 and mark the accents well. अपने उच्चारण को सही करिएगा. Shuddering movement. Mary blushed until the tears stood in her eyes, but Miss Meadows was gone back to the music stand. Her voice rang through the music hall. So Mary was also being ignored by her teacher, her instructor, and she was not feeling well at that time. Tears were in her eyes. But Miss Meadows, she ignored everything completely and her voice rang through the music hall. Page 14, we will begin with page 14, a lament. Lament means a song with sad notes. किसी के मृत्यु पर दुख प्रकट करने के लिए लेमेंट गाया जाता है, जिसको विलाप कहते हैं. Now girls, you ought to know it by this time. We shall take it all together, not in parts, altogether, and without expression sing it, though quite simply, beating time with the left hand. So she is instructing her how to sing a lament. उनका कहना है सब एक साथ गाएंगे और beating time with the left hand. The beating time will be with the left hand only. And without expression, they were instructed to sing.